Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do some more work on the little pear. Now it's a side shoot off of the Still Life calendar prompt, which was the bowl of fruit with the pears and apples, and I've stitched my panel and it's in my journal, and I kept talking about making a partridge in a pear tree, the pear, for my Christmas tree, and it's inspired by the mushroom that I made. So that's where I'm at. Last video, you watched me piece this together. All I've done since I left you was just do a running stitch around there, bit of a decorative element, and I've left it at that. And now I want to collage some more bits and bobs. So here's my stem and my leaves, which I had prepared in the last video. I went looking for this. Now I'm filming this up at Burrum, and this was part of a doily that I've been cutting at, and that's all I can find here with me, and that's it there. So I'm just going to make it work, and my thoughts was either put it there or build it into there. But then I started splitting up all the fabrics I brought with me. I had a plastic container with everything piled in, lace, fabrics, etc. And I thought, before I do anything else, I'm going to sort it. So I did that. Let me just show you. I've got a small collection of milk glass. I don't know if I've ever told you about it. I just love it. I think it's the most beautiful glass. And I've been collecting pieces ever since I inherited one piece out of Grandma's crockery cupboard. It was this random hobglass piece. It's a canister with the lid. I was like, what the hang is this? So with a bit of research, I found out it was milk glass, found out there's all this beautiful glass out there. So whenever I see a piece at a reasonable price, I just pick it up. So I've actually got collection of it. It's not a large collection, but I just love it. I just think it is beautiful. And I was looking around for something to put my fabric scraps in. That plastic container was just overfloweth. So I started by grouping it into the greens, the reds, neutrals and blues. And then I was like, well, I need 1, 2, 3, 4 containers. Where am I going to get space for that? And then I spotted this basket sitting on my buffet behind me. So I thought, perfect, easy to carry, nice and heavy. If I do collaging, I can reach for it. It'll overflow in no time, I'm sure. The neutrals that were in that plastic container just joined the neutrals that I had already in my little neutral caddy. And I had this tiny little soft bag that I'd bought from the retreat I did with Lisa Mattock. And I think someone local in Victoria makes these for Lisa, but if you go online, there's so many caddies now that you can, you know, make yourself. Gosh, there's videos after videos of ways of making things to store things. So that's what I grabbed for the lace that was in that plastic container. It was like I raced out the door from Brisbane and just threw a heap of bits that were on my desk down there and brought that container up. So yeah, so in the process, I thought I had some of this, but I don't. But I did find a couple little rosettes that was on a panel that I pulled apart. Remember, it was a panel I did at the retreat, and I felt like I needed to readjust it. It was a heart shape on the diagonal. Anyway, doesn't matter. Well, these were a couple little rosettes that I'd made out of some morsels of lace that Lisa had included in the packs of fabric for that retreat. This one had fallen apart, obviously didn't stitch it real well. So these came into my world a few minutes ago. So my thought was, being I've only got that, it can go there. And then this was going to go here. Then I started thinking about, well, what can go in the center? Am I starting to detract from the piece? Then the one I was playing with fell apart, literally disintegrated. So I thought, well, if you're going to fall apart on me, I'm going to use you open like, and then it'll be a little bit finer and it'll look like flowers are coming out of there. So that's where I thought, oh, I better turn the camera on. I'm starting to get ahead of myself, and I'm trying to decide its placement. So it went from that to that. I think I've caught you up. I think we're up to speed. So I'm just thinking, I want to bead it as well. So if the beads are clustered around the bottom of this, I'm thinking I'm gonna just, good English there, don't want to close that in too much because I love that piece. So I'm gonna refrain from closing it. If that got cut there, and then we bead from there. Yeah, just do it. Where's the scissors? So I'm feeling a little organised this morning. I feel like I've got myself a plan, and I've sorted my colours, and they're not in that big plastic. Remember the lid broke off in the last video? I'm not sure how much time is between these videos, probably about a week. So you're probably like, oh gosh, girl, I can't remember that. Doesn't matter. For me, it's a day. And I'm feeling organised. And your girl's gotta love that. Just outside my window here is a man on an excavator digging in a trench or two or three or four. Like, goodness me, it looks like there's a moat around the house now. And they're putting all the plumbing pipes in that will take the water from the roof of the shed, the man cave, out to the road. So they've dug a lot of the trenches. Now they're madly laying pipes. Gaz isn't the inspector's arrived. Yeah, he said to Gaz at 10:30, the council inspector will be out to sign off on the connection of it all. And I can see an official looking fellow out there with my plumber. So once that's signed off, they'll start filling in all of these trenches they've dug. And Gaz is out there putting his electrical cable in as well to take power from the house to that shed. So it's all happening. It's all very exciting. I wanted to film earlier this morning, but I couldn't because the excavator was right outside my window. I might just turn the camera. Can you see? Oops, it'd come off. I might as well go that way. See the two men walking around out there, guys? The guy in the yellow is the plumber, the guy in the blue is the inspector. So he's signing off on, we'll mind our own business now. I'll get you back into the cradle. Oh, it's all happening. Like, the girl wants to stitch, she needs quiet. But there's all these fluoro shirts and official people with clipboards trotting around. Oh, you saw the shed then too. Oh my goodness. I'm going to be planting out, let me tell you, a rainforest between me and it. My beautiful view has gone. Man cave alert. It's compromises, isn't it? You know, I got the craft room of my dreams and he's got his man shed of his dreams. So everyone's happy. And I've got now a space between the house and that window that I just showed you, and the shed that I can plant out, and it'll be a little bit protected too, so I'll be able to really play with some plants there. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've asked the plumber to put a outdoor shower rose on the side of that shed, so when I come back from the beach I can, you know, rinse my feet off. If I have a swim in the lake, just have a bit of a rinse to get the salt water off of myself. And he was like, yeah, love, no worries. We can do that for you. So happy girl. So yeah, it's all happening. So I would have filmed earlier, but yeah, the noise, because the trench literally is behind me, to the side of the property, going all the way to the footpath. Then it goes to the shed because there's a toilet going into the shed, and a bit of a wet area where I can wash Pepper and Bandit. So that's connecting back to the house. The sewer is connecting to the house. And then all of those pipes go along the back between the two property, the shed and the house, and then along that side, which is the lake side. So it's very technical. So pretty much there's a trench around the whole perimeter of the property, and all trenches lead to the road or the inspector's back. He's looking at another hole. They're all smiling, so I'm sure it'll be fine, and they'll get their certification and meets code, which is all very important. You've got to do these things because there's nothing worse than cutting corners and then you think you've saved yourself a few dollars, but when you go to sell the property now, you've got to do all these searches and things to make sure everything is, you know, done properly, and you find that the house has got plumbing that's not approved, and it can cost a lot of money to fix, especially if there's now pathways and patios and, you know, all of that. So do it right the first time. We found a local plumber that lives in the area, a semi-retired chap, and he's been great. He's just the knowledge that this chap has. And of course he knows everyone in council, so the approval, he walked in with the plans, found Bob in the back corner of the council building, sat down with Bob, they went through all the plans for the estate and worked out exactly what he needed to do. And we had our plans back out of council in a matter of days, where sometimes they can sit on a desk. So it's all who you land on in council. It's who you know, isn't it? When you can find a respected tradesman from your area, you know, the councilmen just know that it's going to be done right. Yeah, they're all shaking hands and looks like the inspector's happy. He's got some paperwork he's handing across to the plumber. They're looking in at me. I had to turn the lights on. Could you imagine it? They're out there looking at me with an iPad, stitching, talking to you guys. They must think, what the hell's that woman doing in there? What a circus. So in the meantime, I've stitched this little morsel of antique French lace. I wonder if Lisa and Lara picked it up in France when I was there with them on their shopping tours that they do of France, textile tours. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? All right, we need to make a decision about all of this. First of all, I need to do any decorative stitching on those little elements before they are stitched down on the pear. Here comes Gaz, he's walking in. I'm just filming, Gaz. Has the councilman signed off on it all?
Yeah.
I was just explaining to the girls how the plumbing sign off works. So he's happy?
I'm short on pipe and short on electrical cable, so I'm going to do a run-in.
Oh, okay. Do you need me to come?
No.
If you give me 20 minutes, I'll come with you.
Yeah, probably could do 20.
Yep. So in the process of doing all these trenches, we're running the power cables. And Gaz has just said, I don't know if you could hear him, that we're a little bit short on cable and some pipe connectors and things. So as soon as I finish this video, we'll go for a run into Bunnings, is our big hardwares in Australia, and pick up some more bits and bobs to finish the job. So he's just having a cool drink. I'll get this video. How are we going? Yeah, we're fine. So we'll get this sort of underway, and then when we get back from town with what Gaz needs from the hardware, I'll be ready for a bit of beading on my pear. Here's my thoughts. So I'm just doing, gee, that's an ordinary stitch. I'm just doing a little bit of fly stitch. down this little guy, and I'm undoing it because it's a bit of a dodgy stitch. I thought I'd have a little bit of time to film the video, but nope, it's all happening. The reason I need to position these little leaves is I don't want to lose that feature when the leaves go in. And I think the leaf and the stem need to be in so I know where the beads go. Does that make sense? So it's sort of time to construct the little pears. That's better. I had that stitch way out of plumb. It's because I was talking to Gaz at the door there. There we go. This won't take long. I wonder if I could do the final few stitches through the pear as the way to tack this on. Let's have a look. Maybe I don't need that other little leaf. If that goes there like that, I don't think I need it, guys. Is it too much? Is it ever too much? Oh, I like it. I do like it. I'm going to use it. So I think I will. I'll finish it independent of the piece because I can use the beads to tack everything down. So that'll work. All right. I've thought through the construction. See, those plumbers are out there thinking through their construction and I'm in here thinking through mine. Oh my goodness. See, that's a wayward stitch. I did it again. Concentrate on what you're doing, girl, and stop thinking about the plumbers. Okay. I just had a call before I started filming from some friends. They've gone for a drive to Bundaberg to get some work done on their windscreen because they had a rock come up on their last trip back to Brisbane. They live at Hervey Bay, and a rock came up and smashed their windscreen. So while they were in Brisbane just overnight, they were able to get the windscreen replaced, but there's a band of tinting at the top of it that they just could not get done in time due to the Brisbane tinting place that the insurance company uses being too busy to fit them in. So they found out that a sister company is in Bundaberg. So they've gone for a drive to Bundaberg today to get that little job done, and they rang me to say they were sitting at a lovely little restaurant cafe on the side of the big Burnett River, which runs through Bundaberg out to the ocean. You Americans and British, you'll need to get on to Google Maps and you'll see the mighty Burnett River, and it where it comes out at the ocean. And they were sitting there enjoying a nice light lunch, and they're like, "What are you up to?" And I said, "Oh, it's like a trench has been dug around the house." I said, "Well, what are you guys up to?" "Oh, we're sitting on the side of the Burnett River and we're just about to have a nice sandwich delivered to our table and a cold, refreshing drink while we wait for the business down the road to fit the tint to finish the job due to the windscreen being broken." And I was like, "Oh, wouldn't that be nice?" And it was just before I put the camera on to start filming, I took that call. It's like, "Oh, you cheeky buggers." Such beautiful coastline where we all live. They're at Hervey Bay, I'm at Burrum. There's a big river at Burrum, and then a little on the other side of the river, it starts working its way towards the Bundaberg region. So if you have a look at a map in Queensland, you'll see all of those sort of that region from Hervey Bay, Burrum, Bundaberg, and they call that the Fraser Coast because Fraser Island is directly out the front of us all. It's a massive sand island. A lot of tourists go there. There's a big resort there. You can go four-wheel driving and there's beautiful lakes to swim in. It's lovely. And there's barges that go across to take the tourists over. And they go from the Rainbow Beach area, Tin Can Bay, and they go from Hervey Bay. There's different points of which you can get on. So there's a lot of school kids camp there, holiday makers, day trippers, backpackers. Like it's just, it's beautiful. And it sort of makes the water for Hervey Bay, Burrum and Bundaberg very gentle. Like it's not a big coastal waves pounding and like the Gold Coast where it's just open ocean, and the Sunshine Coast, which is further south to us. That big sand island sort of protects us all. So what am I doing here? I might just do a straight decorative stitch straight up the center there. Probably doesn't need it, but we'll give it a go. So it makes swimming very safe for families and kids along our Fraser Coast. It's just beautiful. So get the map out, ladies, and have a look at the world of which we are situated in. Yeah, I like that. Just a little line. Okay. Gaz has just jumped up from having his cold drink and got his keys. So I'm guessing that's him saying subtly, come on girl, we need to head to the hardware and buy more supplies. How come these boys can never work out exactly what they need? I said to him one day, you know, if you just buy 3,000 screws, then you know you're covered. And he said, well, part of the fun of the job is heading back to the hardware to pick up the supplies that he didn't quite work out enough of. And I thought, is that like when I never have enough fabric or thread and I have to go back to the fabric store to get more supplies? And while I'm there, you know, have a little look at what's available. I think it's the same. That reoccurring visit. I think it's the same. I'm just going to run a little stitch through that little morsel. Thread the needle. Using a beading needle. Degree of difficulty high. I'll just put a couple stitches there so you guys can see the effect, but I will have to stitch that properly. Otherwise it's just all going to come apart. Okay, so let's put in place this, that. So let's do this little guy next. Just a little stitch. Okay. That'll hold that little guy in, and I want to tuck the stem in front. Probably don't need that extra leaf, but I like it. It's going in. It'll make the pear look nice and chunky at the top. comes the excavator. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I think they're starting to fill the trenches back in because the inspector's gone now. So they must have got their certificate, and now the excavator's coming back down the side behind me and he's starting to fill in. So I apologise now for any noise. Can you hear it? Talk about interesting background noise. It's like Susanna when she had those series of videos and they were pulling a fence down between themselves and the neighbour to be replaced, and they were also demolishing the house, and we could hear all the banging and clanging. It was quite amusing. She's sitting in her little studio. Plumber's just looked at me and he'd be thinking, what is that girl doing in there? She's stitching. You know what he'll be thinking? Oh, my wife would love to know what she's doing in there. That's what he's thinking. I wonder if he'll ask my husband later, what's the missus doing in that room? I can see a lot of lace and fabric and threads. All right, guys, I have secured those little elements. I will cut my calico away at the end, put some backing fabric in behind there so you can see the shape of my pear. And what I will do next, and I'll pause the video because my husband's now standing at the doorway looking at me with his wallet in his hand. So is that not a wind-up? I found the little beads that I was using for that. There they are. Those is what I used for that mushroom, so I was absolutely stoked. Then there was some little crystally iridescent ones. Gosh, are they with me? Yes, there they are. Those. So they were the beads. There. See that little piece of tulle? I wonder if I could build in. Yeah, I've got some tulle. I might create some little tufts as well to sit there and bead onto. We'll see, but I'll leave all that out. I better, how'd we go? 27 minutes. All right, I'm gonna pause the video. I'll do a bit of beading and then I'll come back and show you. Oh, Gaz is now outside. What's he doing? He's outside with a tape measure. Oh, he doesn't know what he's doing yet. All right, I'm gonna keep going, guys. I just saw him trot past the window. Oh, I used some of that tulle there as well. So got to make some more mushrooms. Aren't they just adorable? When you go on Pinterest and see three-dimensional fabric mushrooms, oh my goodness. Talk about beautiful. I wonder if I know. Hang on, hold the thought. Hold. Now my phone is ringing. Oh my goodness. I will pause and I'll be back, guys. Hello, I'm back. Okay, gee, so much happened. I paused the video. We drove into Bunnings at Harvey Bay. Got some extra lengths of conduit for some electrical cable. Got some electrical cable. Drove all the way back. Dropped Gaz and the electrical items off at the house, and then I continued on to our little town that we actually have at Burren, and we've got a new butcher. A young family has bought the butcher shop, so I thought I'm going to go down and see if I can get some nice sliced fresh ham off the bone for lunches. And of course, once I was there, I saw their cabinet and they were just so smiley and energetic, and so I bought some sausages, 4 different varieties and just a couple of each, 4 sausages. What am I trying to say? 4 sausages in 4 different varieties. So just, for myself and Gaz. I bought a huge T-bone steak that's easily feed the pair of us. What else did I buy? A kilo of mince that had just come out of the mincer and looked really good. Didn't look too fatty, which is a bonus. What else did I buy? Oh, I had some chicken schnitzels that were crumbed with honey and macadamia nut, and I thought, oh gosh, how can I possibly go wrong with that? So yeah, that's what I did. Got back, see the tulle, that's what I jumped up to get, was some tulle. I've got these made, and I thought maybe they might work in with the beads. I think it's too big up there. It does add interest, but hang it, I'm just going to stitch it in. So then I went to the bakery next door and I got some fresh bread rolls, and I went into the Food Works, which is a small grocery store. And in there is our post office and, you know, bit of everything really. It's a real, not a seaside village, but yeah, well, the ocean is there, but it's the side of a river and the ocean's at the mouth of the river, and there's a lot of caravan parks, camping and things like that. So it's sort of got a bit of everything. So it's good when you can spend a few coins with the local businesses. You tend to drive to town, and then while you're there you do, you know, a bit of shopping and end up buying it with the big chains. So yeah, it felt good. Went for a derby down the road, picked up a few supplies. So for me it's a Monday. Goodness knows what day you guys are watching this, but that's set me up now with a bit of meat for the week, bread roll pack, some bread, you know, some went into the freezer, some tomatoes, and then I've just got bits and pieces left over anyway in the fridge. So that's lunches sorted for the next 5 days, which is good. And I didn't have to go near any of those big chains. Bought local, shop local. It's so important to do it if we can, where we can. It just helps keep these little places alive, doesn't it? So then I got back, and all the men were at the front of the property starting to connect all of our piping into the main road of pipes. I can hear the bobcats just out the front now. He's covered in all of the trenches. Gaz got his cables in while I was getting some groceries. Oh, I bought some biscuits too. Homemade Monte Carlos. I'm a bit of a sucker for a Monte Carlo. Yeah, so I got back, made us up a nice ham salad roll. It was very nice. The ham was beautiful. The ham I bought last week at a butcher in town in Harvey Bay, it was so salty. Oh, horrid. So I'm absolutely stoked. And he had packs made up that if you wanted to slide them into an esky or you know, they were pre-done, and where they take the air, vacuum sealed's the word I'm trying to find. They were vacuum sealed. So he offered to slice a heap off of the bone, and I thought, no, I'm just going to grab those, because then I put one in the fridge that I opened today, and it'll be today, tomorrow lunch, and the other couple I just threw in the freezer. I thought that suits me. I don't have to split the meat. It's already done. Seems to be enough for 2 days' lunches, and that's generous. Like, I could probably thin out the use of my ham, but I was hungry, so the ham went on thick. So it was really good. So I feel like I've managed to restock. I wouldn't have got time in Harvey Bay anyway. It was a flying trip. It was in, get what they needed, and out. So if I had a piped up and said, can we go to Woolworths to get some groceries? All those boys, you know, they frown at you. It was only me and Gaz, there wasn't anyone else, but you know how the boys just frown if to go, oh, I really want to get back home. So anyway, I said, I'll drop you at the house with all your bits and I'm going to continue into Burrum itself and pick up. We had actually planned to do a bit of a local shop, thinking we weren't going to get into Hervey Bay, probably till the end of the week, I'd say, if at all. And the local butcher, because they're new owners, they'd posted a picture of their meat cabinet on Facebook last night. My husband spotted it. He says, oh, we should go and see if they've got some good meat. Stock us up for the week. So it was already on the plan. So job done. Lunch has been made and eaten, and 2 Monte Carlos. The plumber's back at the window and he's looking in at me. He'd be thinking I've been here for hours stitching. I haven't. I've done other jobs. So yeah, now it's after lunch, late afternoon, and I'm back with you guys adding beads. And I think that'll be pretty much the last task. Just drizzle a little bit of bling. And I think I glanced at it when I jumped up, when I paused it. I think we'd been going about half an hour. So I'll aim for that. Maybe leave a few minutes at the end in case I don't get the beading done. And pop back and show you the completed. Come on. He's working to the side of the house there. He's got a leveler. I can hear it beeping. Must be checking levels. Fancy. Gosh, the hardware store was busy. God, you can go in there any day of the week and that place is pumping. Unbelievable. There's so many new houses and properties being developed up in this region that they've just upgraded the store. It was half the size and they've just built a mega store. So what's that tell you about the Fraser Coast? It's booming, and they needed a bigger shop to put all the goodies in that we're all buying. You can always tell by an area that's going ahead. Lots of grocery stores and hardware stores upgrading. Actually, I found out on the weekend there's another shopping centre going in halfway between me and Hervey Bay. If you're looking at that coastline to get a feel for where I live, Hervey Bay and Burrum, the river, and Bundaberg, halfway between Hervey Bay and Burrum is lots of outer suburbs, Craignish, Dundarren and Toogoom. Well, there's a shopping centre going in at Dundarren, which is a tiny little cluster of houses on the ocean front. But all the acreage and the farmland back a little bit, it's all being divided up into homes, blocks of land. And they're building a shopping centre, they tell me. We're actually having local elections for the local councillors. That's like your immediate area councillor. And when I went down to get the meat and the tomatoes and some bread rolls, one of them up for the election was on the footpath with a little table and a bunch of lollipops and chatting to everyone. But I don't get to vote in this area because I'm still technically registered as a resident of Brisbane. So my local members for my council area are in Brisbane. So I don't really know the group up here. I only know a little bit about mine in Brisbane. I sort of follow federal politics and state politics. I don't really follow local politics. So I'm really not sure too much about them, but I think the election is in a couple of weeks. So they're all out and about meeting local residents. finding out what issues. So it's local stuff. So it's just the Hervey Bay councillors. So it's not the state of Queensland, it's, yeah, local issues. Rubbish dumps and road repairs in local streets. What else they do? They manage the water, they manage the sewer system, beach erosion, the public libraries, all those types of things, just to do with this area where the state government is the entire state. Well, I can't remember what our population is now, but it's probably about 7 million, 6.5 million. Oh, don't quote me on that. Some of the Australian girls might know that. I'd have to Google it. And that handles the main roads through the state, mining, electricity, the bigger water management areas, you know, the big stuff. And then federal, they're all down in another state, our capital state of the country, which is Canberra. And there's a member from each area around the country representing our area, all down in the main parliament. So, and that's federal, and they look after the defence of the country and immigration and, you know, all the big industry and housing and medical, all of that type of stuff. But state governments look after hospitals. They get money from federal, but federal look after research and things like that. So it's quite interesting how it all sort of hangs together. Often you'll have an issue that you want some advice on, and you've got to sort of work out which level would look after that. Don't want that golden, a little bit more green. So it might be a federal issue, it might be a state issue, or it might be just your local council. And that chap that came out to approve our plumbing is, yeah, local council, just to make sure that our system was compliant and the water from the roof of the shed is going to the right place, not affecting the environment and connecting into their system. So yeah, there you go. You've just got a lesson on plumbing and local government. I'd say it's pretty similar. I think they call our system the Westminster system. So my guess is it's probably very similar to what's operating in the UK, our system. Okay, I'm happy with that little cluster of beads as I'm yibbering away here. So I might end that off. And what I'm thinking I'll do, which will be off camera because it'll be as boring as anything, is edge the little pear like I did there with little beads. But what I do want to do is come down the bottom here. How are we going for time? We've got about 15 minutes. So we just want to work around the bottom and build a cluster. And I like the fact that it's on the diagonal from the top. And same thing, just randomly pick at the beads. I have to come up with some other projects for my little tree as the year quickly slides back into Christmas. Oh my goodness, I can't even believe I said that out aloud. Goodness. And I'm one that focuses a lot on Christmas, being that I have Christmas shops as my business. And our orders are done and stock is now starting to come in from all of my manufacturers that I order direct from. The Australian wholesalers, they won't send their gear until later in the year, because they supply everything from kitchen things to hardware to Easter, Halloween, Christmas. So it sort of all comes in an orderly fashion, where the items that I import myself, well, they like to get my little orders done and off the production lines and into containers heading in my direction. So within a few weeks, we'll start getting notifications that my Christmas trees have arrived, my lights, my baubles, all sorts of treasures. So it'd be good. We can start quietly decorating the shops. We don't have many customers, as you can imagine. Everyone else is, you know, thinking Christmas is months away, but for those of us in the industry of Christmas retail, never seems to end. We're starting to look at orders and what we're going to buy, and often that starts mid-December and we haven't even finished Christmas that we've got coming up, which is always bizarre. Always seems odd. But that's how it goes. It's like the fashion industry. They're always a couple seasons ahead. They'd be planning months and months ahead by the time they get to the production side of it, and then the shipping, and then it's ready for the season in which it was intended for, which is a season we ain't in. That just is mind-boggling. People are always working on something, aren't they? Here we go. I'll get all the big chunky beads in, and then I'll start feathering it out with the little guys. It'd be good if I could use a lot of these, or at least combine them so I get a container out of this. But then again, if I do another decoration, probably wouldn't hurt to have a smattering of these left, hey? Oh, I'll tell you, the brain just never stops. These little gold beads are so cute. I think you get the general gist of my little piece. I'll have to go rummaging too for a piece of felt for the back, just to tidy it up. I'm going to knock them flying. And I'll need to find something for a little cord to hang it on the tree as well. I mustn't forget to add that into the backing. I think they look good together. We certainly have got a set. Yeah, that's good. It won't take me long to finish this. Then I'll come back and show that to you. I won't take any more out of there. Let's save some for another day. I think this came from a piece of jewellery I broke down, those two. So once these, just unthreaded. Oh, come on. So once these beads are used, that'll be it. I'll have to create my own little mix of green and amber bickies. Oh, I've got biscuits on the mind. Those Monte Carlos were really nice. I may require another one. Maybe that's the issue. Is that why I got biscuits? Biscuits on the brain. How funny is that? Gee, I just gave myself away then, didn't I? Oh, what's the girl really thinking? Biscuits. That's hilarious. Alrighty, I'm going to now just put the little beads, sprinkling them. I picked up 3 that time, sprinkling those up the side. I need to change my thread out. It's getting a bit short. So I might just end it off, get myself a nice long piece of cotton, and then I might mosey on over to the couch. I may visit the biscuits. I might just, you know, check out that biscuit tin again. I'll put a few more big beads here, and then I think I'll keep the beads. I'll go right up there and through there, but I won't come down here. I'll stay away from that flower. Then I will trim it back, find a piece of cloth to go through there, work out what little hanger I'm going to do. That one I've used satin cord, which I think I have some more of, so that might do the trick, you know. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll dig out that cordage that I use for that. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to pause the video once again. How are we going for time? Plenty of time. And I'll finish my little pear. And I'll be back. And I'll try and only have 1 biscuit. That'll be 3 in total. Naughty girl. Naughty, naughty girl. All right, guys. Look after yourselves. And I'll catch you in a few seconds. Okay, I'm back and I've finished beading. So I'll bring that up to the camera. So I beaded all around the edge, like I mentioned just before, stopping at the flowers. I then put a few up through the center of the pear. The little gap there where my finger is just pointing, I ended up adding a little bit of the lace from the bottom. I cut the tiny little scallop off and just popped it in there. I just felt like it balanced it somewhat. I've trimmed it back from the calico. So now what I'm going to do is stitch my little hanger on, and I found the roll of cordage that I used on the mushroom. So what I want to do is just stitch that on, and that's pretty much it. I'll stitch the backing on to make it feel even more sturdy. Like, it feels pretty good structural wise, but I think once that batting goes on, and it's like a cotton wool batting that I used to use in all my quilts, so that'll just give it that little bit extra thickness to the little pear. But it's pretty good. Like, I'm feeling like it would not buckle. So it's just a case of a couple little slip stitches for this little guy. And then I might just bring my needle out. Well, it's out anyway. And I'm hoping, I had a few of these squares sitting there, and I'm hoping that my little pear, yeah, it does, it fits. So I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Am I going to trim it first? I think I might. And then do a little slip stitch, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see the stitches. So I'm thinking I can catch the wadding is how I'm going to approach it, I think. Yeah. So I'm just going to trim this back just to the edge of it all. I don't mind seeing it because it's all texture and makes my little piece look even more interesting detail-wise. And this wadding, I believe, is what's in those little leaves. Yeah, it is. So it will work a treat. It sort of all makes sense. Now I must not trim the stalk. I must not trim. I'm going to leave the stalk and the tie drifting in the air there. I'm not taking wadding up to them. There we go. So there's the wadding on. So now I'm hoping I can just, yeah, that'll sandwich nicely. Just do some little, I've got a really sharp beading needle here, so it's going to go through those layers really easily and catch all those pieces together. And my little pear, just need to make a partridge, don't we? There's a few birds already on the tree, so technically one could say the partridge is represented. I wonder if I'll get the whole song done one day. I do have that pattern where you make them all out of felt. I bought it some time ago. I've got the whole collection, but I've never been able to decide what colour scheme to do them in. You see them online and there's some beautiful colour combinations. I'm thinking, where are you getting all that felt from? So I'm slowly building a little felt fabric collection. So maybe one day I'll get them done. Or the collection just builds on this. This is sort of my natural environment. I've got plenty of these fabrics and tones. So, you know, an idea maybe is to use the little patterns but turn them into slow stitch pieces. I don't know. It's just one of the many ideas floating around in the head. One day, add it to the chalkboard. Yeah, that's going to work. That'll just tidy up the back. Very exciting. I'll get to hang it on the Christmas tree that's still on display. Oh gosh. I might take a photo of it just to remind you guys the one I'm talking about. Great granny tree. And a couple of you American ladies said that it was a feather tree. I didn't even twig to that. I thought it was just this ratty looking foliage that was on the tree and it had this funny little curl about it, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just heat affected, you know, just old. But it's feathers, they're dyed feathers. And that explains, you know, it came from Prussia, and the gentleman that created those feather trees was a German gentleman that when he immigrated to America, he started making them, and then they became a bit of a thing in America. So that was just gorgeous. When a couple of you spotted the tree at Christmas when I was doing different things with it, and said it was a goose feather tree. So I Googled it and found out that goose feather trees are very old and worth a few dollars. And then the stand is it's got German on it that I believe someone said, it says Merry Christmas, it says. Because I showed it on a video and one of you said, oh, I know what that says. That says Merry Christmas. I think it was a couple of you said that, actually. So that was lovely. I have a feeling that the stand did not come with the tree. The stand sort of feels like one you would use if you cut a sapling down and had a live tree, but I don't know. Gosh, I wish my great however great, we're really not sure of that either, wrote a little letter and stuck it on the tree. But I have found photos of the tree with my immediately great-grandparents when it came to Australia. I think they're right behind me actually, hang on. Just sliding I've shown these before. Here they are. That's the tree, all decorated up, and there's all these glass finials on them. Gosh, I wish I knew where they were. There's a swan, like it's just beautiful. And on each branch, see, it looks ratty there. Gosh, it was pretty ratty when it arrived in Australia. On each branch is a little candle holder, and you'd put a wax candle. If you can see where my fingernail is, see that line? That's a candle. There's another one down there. Just gorgeous. Burn the house down stuff. And here is the descendants of the family that came to Australia. And from what I can understand, this is Christmas 1927. Now, that is the granddaughter of the family that came to Australia with this tree. And there's the tree. There's the finial and the finial. Not sure what era that is, but my grandmother is one of these little girls. I'm not sure which one. I wish I knew. She's one of these little girls. Even this lady here, I was looking at it one day with some family, and we realised that she's pregnant. That lady up on the balcony. So this is 1927. And I think that's Grandma Winter's house in Kingaroy. And there are all the little kiddies. My grandmother's in there. And it was her grandmother that brought the tree to Australia via Adelaide as they immigrated up into Queensland and settled in the South Burnett Kingaroy district. Isn't it amazing? And that Christmas tree was wrapped up in a dodgy old plastic bag in the back of a cupboard in Grandma's house. So when my parents, when my mum and her sister and me as the labourer were cleaning the house out, Grandma had gone into the nursing home. We were cleaning it all out, getting it ready to be sold. And the tree was found. And I was like, oh, can I have that? And they were like, oh yeah, we don't want it. Look at the thing. And that dodgy little Christmas tree came home with me, and I've put it up every year since. And it's like the perfect size to sit on a table or a side buffet. I suspect that there's a whole section of the tree missing. I have a feeling that I've got just that top bit. Like mine's not that big. I think I've got about that much of it. So it could have even been bigger again, who knows. And every year I've just had it on my dining table in Brisbane, and I put my nativity scene underneath it. So it's great, especially if I don't feel like putting up a massive Christmas tree. So it's like my every year tree no matter what, because I've got no excuses, it's easy. So this year, Christmas was at Burrum, so I popped it up, and because my dining table's technically not here yet, it's still in Brisbane. I've got a kitchen table for just breakfast and meals and that sitting to the one side, but it's not the table from Brisbane. So I put it on a buffet that I bought locally just as a quick piece of furniture to have something there for a tree to sit on. it's still there and I love it. What am I doing? I'm doing stab stitch and it's obvious now. It's a mess at the back. I'm trying to be neat. That's why we're backing this. So when I finish finally filming this, I'll hang my little pear and my mushroom back on the tree. Please don't judge me that my Christmas tree is still up. I'm in the Christmas industry. There's always Christmas around me. Always. Everyone comes here and goes, oh, you've got reindeers all lined up on the bench. I'm like, yes, they're part of our product range. And they've been sitting here for a few weeks as I look at them and decide whether they need blue trousers, black, brown trousers. You know, there's always prototypes around. So all my friends and family are like, oh yeah, we'll always see Christmas at Corrine's place. There we are, we're nearly, and I've buried those stitches just to neaten it up. Oh, it's got caught on my rough fingers. I've got to hop on a shovel this afternoon, just when I thought my day was slowing down, but no. The backhoe guy is gone and Gaz wants to dig in another little trench for some data cable or something. So that we don't both have heart attacks. I'll dig a bit, he'll rest, he'll dig a bit, and I'll rest, you know, divide the job in half. We're digging into sand, so we have no excuse for heart attacks, really. It does explain why my hands get a little bit coarse at times. Alrighty, that's it. We are done. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys, and thank you to Susanna, who provided the prompt for her calendar project. I'm really pleased that she picked a bowl of fruit. I was dubious at first. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with a bowl of fruit? So you just never know. You just got to go with the flow and see where some of these adventures take you. All right, guys, I shall go and hang my pear and my mushroom, and I'll go out and take a photo so that you guys can see where it's going, and then I really should pack the tree away, but I bet you I don't. And by the way, I had one biscuit only, one Monte Carlo. So there you go. I was a good girl, if you call 3 Monte Carlos being good. All right, on that note, I better go. See you later, guys. Bye.